Barry M. Goldwater, The Conscience of a Conservative. Welcome to the fascinating world of The Conscience of a Conservative by Barry M. Goldwater, a compelling book that sheds light on the political philosophy of conservatism. This summary aims to break down complex ideas into digestible and engaging pieces, as we delve into the essence of conservatism as a comprehensive and holistic worldview. Touching on themes such as limited government, the Constitution, states' rights, civil rights, trade unions, taxation, and the welfare state, we explore how conservatism looks at the whole man, and how it seeks to secure both economic and political freedom for individuals, striking a delicate balance between these freedoms and societal order.
The Holistic Creed of Conservatism. The book argues that conservatism is more than just a political philosophy, it is a holistic creed that takes into account the whole person. Unlike liberalism, which focuses solely on material well-being, conservatism recognizes the importance of nurturing the spiritual side of human nature. This can only be achieved through both economic and political freedom, which are necessary for individuals to flourish. However, conservatives understand that these freedoms cannot be absolute and must be balanced by certain limitations and duties in order to maintain social order. Limited government and its erosion. The United States Constitution enshrines the principle of limited government. It allows the state to exercise necessary powers while being prevented from assuming additional ones. The Constitution also places obstacles in the way of anyone who seeks to extend the power of the federal state. However, by the 1960s, both parties had transformed the federal government into a bloated leviathan with an annual budget of $100 billion, up from just $30.5 billion 3 decades earlier. This was due to demagogic officials who won votes by promising greater power in exchange for security. Erosion of liberty through the erosion of states' rights. The Founding Fathers designed the Constitution to delegate political questions locally rather than federally, but the power-hungry federal government has blurred the line between federal and state jurisdiction. Matching funds are a clear example of this erosion of states' rights, as states are subjected to a mix of blackmail and bribery by the federal government. This violates the 10th Amendment, which confirms that states have the right to act and not act, and their decisions can only be made by the people of a given state. By overstepping its constitutional role, the federal government is also depriving the inhabitants of these states of the right to define their own interests, thus eroding liberty. The compatibility of states' rights and civil rights. The book explains that the notion that civil rights and states' rights are in conflict with each other is a common misconception. The Constitution sets a hard limit to states' power when it encroaches individual rights protected by federal law, otherwise, states can do anything that has not been delegated to the federal government or banned by the Constitution. Civil rights are rights protected by valid laws. The legal definition of these rights should be compatible with the Constitution. The book demonstrates that the Constitution does not cover federal intervention in states to ensure racially mixed schools. It is not a civil right for black or white children to attend mixed-race schools, but desegregating education may be both just and wise. In 1954, the Supreme Court recognized this and gave the federal government the power to desegregate schools by force. The court could not turn the clock back to 1868 when the first Civil Rights Act was passed, so it had to consider public education in light of its full development and its present place in American life throughout the nation. The court emphasized the significance of its ideas rather than the Constitution. Unions and their legitimacy. As businesses grew in power during America's shift into an industrial nation, workers banded together to form trade unions for collective bargaining. However, unions become illegitimate when their membership becomes mandatory. The author suggests implementing right-to-work laws to prevent unions from forcing workers to join. While unions argue that these laws allow for freeloaders, most workers will support a union that serves their interests without compulsion. Taxation and Liberty. The book advocates for freedom in taxation policies. It presents the idea that excessive taxation undermines personal liberty, which is a fundamental issue. The excerpt argues against progressive taxation and proposes that the government should only take as much as it needs to pay for its legitimate functions. The fairest way of raising taxes is to ask each citizen to pay an equal percentage of their income and no more. The dangers of welfarism. The emergence of welfarism has created a new form of collectivism that is a threat to freedom and responsibility. For many years in the United States, Marxism posed the most significant threat to freedom as it sought to socialize the means of production and create a state-run economy. However, with the rise of affluence after World War II, Marxism lost its appeal, and welfarism emerged as a more significant danger. The welfare state is a new form of collectivism that seeks to subordinate the individual to the state, and it has the potential to eliminate people's responsibility for their own well-being, families, and communities. The rise of welfarism has come about through the realization that the state can confiscate property through taxation rather than violent expropriation. By providing for people, governments can gain power and control over individuals in a way that is compatible with democracy. However, conservatives who oppose welfarism are often accused of lacking compassion for the plight of the poor, sick, and frail. This accusation misses the point as welfarism eliminates people's feeling of responsibility for their well-being, and they become transformed from free citizens into unfree subjects. Moreover, the humanitarian impulse that underlies welfarism can be corrupted, as voting for parties that promise freebies can interfere with other people's freedom. A better alternative would be to promote individual responsibility, family, and community and allow individuals to make their own choices. In conclusion, welfarism poses a severe threat to freedom and responsibility. It may be tempting to vote for parties that promise freebies like medical care for the poor, but in reality, these actions interfere with others' freedom and eliminate people's responsibility for their own well-being. The better alternative would be to promote individual responsibility, family, and community and allow individuals to make their own choices.
In conclusion, The Conscience of a Conservative educates readers on the importance of viewing conservatism as a comprehensive political philosophy that considers the entirety of human experience. We've journeyed through the various aspects of conservatism, including limited government, states' rights, and civil rights, seeing how each plays an essential role in nurturing human freedom and well-being. Furthermore, we've looked at trade unions, taxation, and the welfare state, understanding the implications of excessive government intervention on personal liberties. This book successfully demystifies complex concepts, helping readers comprehend the significance and relevance of conservatism in today's world, inspiring them to appreciate a more complete and balanced perspective on political philosophy.